So, George, good to see you. Thanks for your time, sir. Always appreciated, and always good to sit down with a kindred, rebellious
spirit. It's the Irish in us, Matt.
Indeed, sir. Indeed. So, I just wanted to ask a few questions for our viewers and our families who support Fathers for Justice, and get your views on shared parenting. Firstly, why do you support shared parenting?
Well, the assumption should be 50-50.
Yeah.
A child needs both its parents. All the statistics, all the analysis makes that clear, that a child that can grow up with a close contact with both a father and a mother are advantaged by that. I don't think that can be gainsaid. It's not to say that single parents are not good parents. Of course that's not true.
No.
And there are many people who are single parents through no choice of their own. But the optimal position is a man and a woman, a mother and a father, bringing up their children. Sorry if that sounds old-fashioned, but that's my view. So the presumption of the children's court system, the family justice system as it's laughingly called, ought to be that. But it isn't. The assumption is that the mother is always right and that the father is put on notice that he is to be strenuously, stringently inquired into, even though he's the blood father of the children. Now this throws up many paradoxes. For example, a mother who then allows a boyfriend to move in with her is not subject to these tests.
That's absolutely.
No one who's the boyfriend of a mother is required to prove anything about their suitability to live under the same roof as these children. But the father, who is the blood father of these children, is. This is a ridiculous paradox. And of course, I don't need to mention some of the infamous cases where boyfriends of mothers have murdered and otherwise tortured children. Now, let me make it clear, you know this as well as me, there are millions of feckless fathers in the country. People who don't care about their children, who walk away from their responsibilities, and we're not flying any flag for them. We're flying a flag for the millions of fathers who want to be a part of their children's lives and are not being permitted to be so. So, old-fashioned or not, these are my views.
Well, see, our view is very much that shared parenting is responsible parenting, and we think that obviously, given the opportunity of introducing it, even if we just tested it, we think that the benefits would surely not be just for the children, but for families, in terms of taking families out of welfare, lifting children out of poverty, putting fathers back into families, and also better outcomes for our country.
For society,
cancer family breakdowns costing £50 billion a year. Let me ask you a more politically charged question, which is in 2010, we had some election promises from the Conservative Party to introduce shared parenting. Obviously, those didn't amount to anything. What's your view on that?
All the political parties, mainstream political parties, and even some of the non-mainstream, like UKIP, they are ready to challenge prevailing orthodoxy in this or that regard, but this appears to be one prevailing orthodoxy that is taboo, is beyond the pale.
Absolutely.
And even for this interview, I'll be attacked for it. And as I have been for having you on our Sputnik show, attacked for it. But I believe in what you are fighting for, and I believe in you. And so I'm not afraid to stand up for my principles. I'm afraid the other politicians are, even imagining they had any principles to begin with. They're scared of upsetting a lobby which holds that women are always right, that mothers are always right. And as somebody who served in Parliament under Margaret Thatcher, I'd be the last person in the world to believe that. There's nothing inherently or intrinsically nice, better or superior about women. Men and women are good and bad, mothers and fathers are good and bad, and the assumption that one is better than the other is a profoundly unjust and also foolish misconception.
Can I ask you about the the shared parenting EDM that you brought into Parliament?
It was very successful.
Which, as you said, was like the grand national of Everyday Emotions, because it had your name on it and it had our name on it. But we still won the support of 104 MPs from right across the political spectrum. Why do you think there is so much resistance in Parliament to the idea of shared parenting and equality?
Well, first of all, this early day motion was tabled by me, but inspired by you. So any credit for it goes to Fathers for Justice, because it was an idea, is an idea whose time is right and is coming. We got an extraordinarily broad swathe of support from inside the Parliament. More than 100 MPs, many of them privy councillors, many of them former government ministers, many of them people who were to go on, not many, but some who were to go on to become ministers. So it was, on one level, a big success. But there was 104 for it. Where were the rest? The only way to change this, Matt, and I give you my advice from many campaigns on Palestine and many other things, you'll only move MPs when you've moved the public upon whom they depend for their votes. So we have to generate amongst the public a demand on the politicians for movement and change in this regard. We can do it. Your long struggle has been a heroic one, but it has to get bigger and it has to get smarter still.
Yeah, absolutely, and we agree entirely in that. And in terms of moving forward, what can people do politically? I mean, obviously putting pressure on MPs, prospective parliamentary candidates. We're only weeks away now from an election, and the most uncertain election in our generation, with uncertain outcomes, maybe a second election at some point. What should people be doing? The people at home watching this who are Fathers for Justice supporters, and there's a lot of people out there, what should they be doing, and what can they do?
Well, they need to argue everywhere for shared parenting. That is, have the courage of your convictions, but in a very sober and proper way. Phone up the radio station, talk-in shows, write your letters to the newspapers, impact on the local political system, because all politics is local.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, every MP has to go back to their locale in order to be an MP. And that means an opportunity for us, because whilst it's difficult to imagine the political system on a national level, very big, very powerful, very impervious to the ordinary man or woman in the street, on a local level, it's much easier. I promise you this, I've been an MP for almost 30 years. If I get 10 emails on the same subject from my constituents, there'll be a meeting convened in my office to say what's going on here.
Yeah.
How are we going to respond to this? What can we do to keep those 10 people happy? That's how politics works.
Yeah.
Now, it's not there's more than 10, there's more than 10 times 10, there's more than 100 times 10 in every constituency. People who feel like us on this subject.
Yeah, absolutely.
The question is to get together, to organise ourselves, and to impact on that local political system. This is a good time. Go to your election meetings, hustings, stand up and raise the demand. If you're elected, if I give you my vote, will you support shared parenting? Have you read the early day motion signed by 104 MPs? Do you agree with it? You'll be surprised. As Dr. Johnson said, the knowledge that one is to be hanged in the morning concentrates the mind wonderfully. Well, all these MPs are metaphorically, potentially to be hanged, not tomorrow morning, but on the 7th of May. This is a good time. If you can't grab their hearts and minds, at least grab them by the balls, then their hearts and minds will follow.
A good squeeze, a good squeeze. George, one final question I've got for you. Obviously, I've not been able to persuade you to don your superhero outfit, which
not yet,
or put you on Parliament. You look magnificent, sir. I think with the hat and the cape, I can see your profile now, gracing the front covers of all the national media. But if you were to have choice of a superpower, what superpower would you want?
I'd go for Top Cat, who's not quite a superhero, but was the signature tune of my my famous talk sport show, which ran for about 7 years, quite a cult following. I've always seen myself as top cat.
George Galloway, thank you very much.
All the best. God bless you.
God bless.
God bless you all.